Greetings,
That
class. Every Sunday evening, we come on live to talk to you about your real estate investing journey, about how we can help you to take questions on your new acquisition, financing, creative financing, whether you have a tenant issue, dealing with contractors, raising money, a disposition, selling a piece of property or land, depending on where you are in the country. So I'm going to be your co-pilot. I'm Kris Haskins, hanging out with my friend and mentor, Dan Borrero. How you doing, buddy?
as always, brother. Good man. Like I always say, man. If you're on this side of the dirt, we're doing great, bro. We wake up in the morning, we're doing good.
You're right about that.
It's
Let me
another
hit this.
day.
I gotta hit this button on Instagram, Dan. I forgot about that. Listen, Dan, what anything on your mind? I want to talk about interest rates and Trump's. I love it when I hear Trump say, "I'm gonna make them lower the interest rate." Don't you like that stuff? I'm gonna make. Hold on, you do what I say.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Dan? I've thought about you when I heard him say it.
I actually think the federal chairman of the Federal Reserve said no. And he even said that he won't resign even if Trump told him to or asked him to. But I don't know. I mean, president has a huge platform. It's he could put a lot of pressure on him. And think about it. President of the United States, especially Donald Trump, that he's known for, will say, this guy's a schmuck. This guy's hurting us. He needs to go. He's no good. And he'll say some derogatory remarks about him. And, within a couple of minutes, this guy's getting death threats, right? To him and his family.
Grimy,
So, that in itself is an encouragement to resign. Donald Trump has a huge platform. He has a huge platform and a huge following base, loyal following base.
Well, I'm just reading the thing. It says he'll demand. He's going to demand. I'm going to show it to you here. I want to make sure everybody understands what's going on here, because not that this is going to necessarily affect us buying real estate. He'll immediately demand that interest rates drop.
Well, he's going to have, personally, if he's doing all these tariffs, I think the interest rates would drop to get the economy, just to help the economy go. It's I was reading a thing today where he was saying that he was going to, you may want to bring this up, that he's going to impose a 25% tariff on everything coming from Colombia. So I can't imagine, you may want to bring that up. I can't imagine how that's going to affect not only the price of coffee, but other items that we import from Canada, from Colombia. Now, Colombia president is saying, well, he's going to do the same to the United States. So
Colombia's president Gustavo Petro buckles under Trump's trade war.
So supposedly they're saying that he buckled, but then he just put out a letter earlier, like a couple hours after this statement came out from the Trump's administration, saying that's not true and that he's going toe to toe with him.
I would. I mean, I don't understand.
Yeah, and I wouldn't take much. There's two news outlets I kind of always tell people that they shouldn't be watching. Oh, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't say this, but I always tell people what I don't watch. I don't watch anything to do with Fox News, and the New York Post is part of Fox News.
Yeah.
And I won't watch or take anything as credible coming from CNN. Those are two
different. CNN?
They're both on opposite sides of the aisle, and I think both of them are reporting biasly. Actually, Fox News came out and said they were more of a commentary. There was I forget his name. He was on with Ted Koppel, and he was like, "Well, we're an entertainment channel, commentary channel. We're not a news channel."
Might be right.
Yeah. So, both of those news outlets, I wouldn't, or anything associated with those news outlets, I wouldn't take anything as being credible.
But Dan, what I really wanted to talk to you about, and we're going to take questions, y'all. I'm going to put the phone number up in a minute. When the president says lower interest rates, I just want to make sure we all understand what's going on. Lower them from what to what? Now I'm on bank rate, right? This is where all the guys go. Everything goes through bank rate. Oh, you have another site that you want to visit, Dan? I thought
no. Let's use that. Let's go for it.
bank rate. I'm just like, I went from lowest to highest. When I see 6.4, and I want y'all to see here, I'm at credit score 680. Can you see that, Dan?
Yes.
Is this a fit? Let's say we're just talking average. Is 680 to 700? Is that an average American, or is it lower?
I would say my average credit scores when I get tenant applicants is between 680 and 740.
So okay, so we'll just stay here then. We'll stay.
Okay.
I want to go. Well, let's go to 700 to 720 then. Then when I see interest rates like these, APR 7.76. Let's look at. Let's go to 30-year. Let's go to 30-year. Is this 30-year? Oh no, I'm sorry. That ain't gonna work. 5.6. 30-year fix. 6.5. 30-year fix. 6.7. Dan, when I see this, I don't consider this necessarily high. I just want to make sure I know what your opinion is, because when Pete says I'm a lower interest rate, lower them to what, Dan? I mean, during COVID, it was like we were in a national emergency. You with me? And I'm like, damn, what are we lowering? When I got in, interest rates was 7.5 to 9.5, and I'm not beating my chest because I know Dan. Dan, what was it? What was it when you first came in?
Can you hear me, Chris?
Got you now.
Okay,
I
cool.
lost you.
My first mortgage was 17.9% for Greenpoint Savings Bank in 1989. 17.9%.
I want to clap it up for Dan for even being able to say those words.
Oh! Check this out, Chris. With
What?
6 points. 6 points.
I don't even think that's legal anymore.
Yeah, I don't think it's legal anymore, but it was 6 points.
6 points.
Yeah.
What was the total principal amount?
And the mortgage broker got 2.5 points of that. If I recollect, it was either 2.5 or 3 points.
And smiled while you
Yes.
came in the door.
And I was happy. Yeah, I was happy that I could actually do the deal.
Yo, look at Javon.
Yeah.
Javon said 17% of credit. You're right. And
That's what it was. So I had to go with a no income check. And back then, that's currently called DSCR loans today.
They just renamed the shit.
Yeah. And at the time, we were coming out of a deep recession, and a lot
What
of the
year was that?
banks,
1989?
and the banks had gone through some serious foreclosures, taking back properties from investors, because investors were just they were just walking away. Exactly, with savings and loans. So the banks were pretty much walking away, right? Actually, savings and loans crisis was after that.
And I don't know.
Yeah, and many investors were walking away. So when the banks looked at lending money to investors, it was extremely risky for them, and they wanted to get higher interest rates. Plus, I had no experience, so I had no experience. It was my first loan ever, because I bought an investment property before I bought my personal home, and I didn't even have a car loan, so I really didn't have any credit history. So
okay. What was the principal amount, Dan?
It was, if I remember correctly, it was something like 55 or 57,000. I bought the property for no, it was actually, no, forgive me. It was 51,000, because I put a little over $29,000 down payment. For me, that was a lot of money back then.
So the purchase price was like 70 something.
72. It was like 72. So between all my closing costs and all, I had to come up with almost $30,000.
Wow.
For a $72,000 property.
That's a down payment now.
Yeah, and I was paying 17.9% interest.
So I just want all of us here tonight. You guys are here to get a little bit of wisdom. Not to say that Dan and I are the smartest guys in the room or the world. Unfortunately, we just been around the block. And when I see these interest rates, does this scare you at all? 7.4, 6.5.
I think it's too cheap.
Me too. I'm like, dude, you guys, what do you mean high? What? I don't even understand what they're talking about.
Yeah, but you got to understand, Chris, like people like my kids, for instance, that are coming into the market, right? They used to like 3.5%, man.
Oh, so they started out with that.
Right. Our kids,
Oh,
today's generation, if you think about it, remembers 2.5, 3%,
I didn't think about
4%,
that,
anything below
Dan.
5. Now that when they look at 6 and 7%, they're like mind boggled.
Ah, now I get it. Anthony said they took you to the cleaners,
They did take me to the cleaners,
and he was happy.
and I was happy.
But then when I see, wow, you talk, what Gary Vee said, the number one thing we have in this life is our perspective. And when I think about somebody's perspective that started looking at real estate in 2021, I guess they would think that we're interest rates are high right now. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Now
They
I
would
get
look at it
it.
as interest rates are high.
Wow.
I remember when the interest rates dropped. I had bought in 1990, I bought my second property,
Uh-huh.
and I got that one at like 16%.
Oh my
It
Lord.
was like 16.8, 16.9, and I thought I hit gold.
You was low.
I
You
was high.
going down.
I was
You
like,
went
man, I'm
down.
the man. I felt I negotiated a great deal.
I was
I was
happy at
patting
seven and a
myself
half.
in the back. You the man, Dan.
Javon says, "Hey, 70% to me is very expensive."
I
I'm
would
like,
love
"Yo,
to ask Devon, when did you start your investment career? When did you get your first mortgage?
Javon, yeah, tell us
Or
that."
how old is he? Because that gives us
Javon's
perspective.
28.
Yeah, see, think about it. So Javon, is when he graduated from school, or 4 years ago, interest rates were what? 4%, under 5%.
Yep,
So to Javon, in his lifetime, because of when he started taking notice of it, he's only 28 years old.
he doesn't even know.
His perspective is that's high.
Dan, you have really opened up my eyes. That's why we paid Dan all the money to be here tonight to help us
Yeah,
understand.
yeah, waiting for the check.
So his home interest rate is 3.1. That's why he thinks seven is high. That's double.
Exactly.
That's double.
Yes,
I get it.
yes.
I get it. Javon, thank
And
you.
hence, Javon, this is no offense on you, but you and I have had this conversation where there's a lot less inventory because people that normally would have sold their house after 5 years and moved up to the next level,
Mhm.
it's like they're like, I'm staying where I'm at because
No
I'm only
doubt.
paying 3%.
I would.
Right? Or they may extend the property and add another room to it, or go up another floor
I
if it's a
would.
ranch, because they're only paying 3%,
I would.
which then is reducing the available of inventory in the market because they
You
don't want to
never
sell.
told me this.
They're not going. They know they're not going to get that 3% again.
Never. You can't even buy Dan, you can't even buy that down that far, can you?
No, I don't think you can.
That would be like 10 because you can only buy it down. I think it goes down a quarter of a point every. When we did our loan, I had to pay $3,500 for a quarter of a percent, and that was I'm like, give me that. That was the max they would do.
Yeah, I haven't gone for a loan in a while, but I don't know. I don't think you can.
Yeah,
So Javon, I wouldn't sell that property. You
I
know
wouldn't
what?
either.
If I moved out, I would rent it before I sold it.
Take that one to the grave, dog. You know what's
Yeah.
weird, Dan? I don't think people understand that this game is really about financing.
I don't
Like
know
this,
about really just about financing, but it has a lot to do with it.
I'm just saying the house, right? My mentor used to say, Chris, it's not the house's fault that you owe $1 million. It's the
No.
same house, even if it's free and clear.
Yes.
Same house. And when he told me that, because all I could see was, when you start out, all you see is big loans, all
Right.
these loans, loan, loan, loan. He's like, dude, the house don't care. It's the
Yeah.
same house.
The house don't care.
The house don't care. Deborah, you are welcome. Thank you. Dan, talk about the class we had yesterday, man. That was unbelievable. 83 people. Was it 83?
It was
80,
82.
83 people, y'all, on class. Dan, to listen to Dan Borrero and me talk about hiring contractors, 18-page workbook, construction estimator contract. Dan, you really, really, really took the bull by the horns yesterday, man. You really
And
honed
so
it up.
did you, man. I mean, we did it together. But I mean, I can't tell you how many compliments I've been getting about that class. It was so informative. I didn't realize how informative it was until I actually watched the video today.
Well, when you think about it, Dan, I really think that for you, being a practitioner you don't look at what you do as being a big deal,
It's
right?
every
And then
day. It's an everyday thing for us, for
it's every
people
day.
like you and I, right?
Yeah, it's not like the influencers are like, "Hey, check this out." I'm like, "Look, I got to do this, 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 this." What do you mean? This is something that somebody want to see?
Yeah,
Or
like we don't. We I don't. I've and under your tutelage, I got to give you credit for that since 2019. I never thought what I did on a daily basis took much effort because we figure it out as we get older, and the more we do it, we figure out how to overcome the challenges, right?
Mhm.
But yesterday's class, what we did was we literally provided so much information that people don't have to figure out how to overcome the challenges. We've already done it for them, and we
Yep.
were able to tell people like, "Hey, this is where you look for a contractor. Hey, these are the questions you ask your contractor. Hey,
Mhm.
this is the way you vet your contractor. Hey, this is when this is the type of response you expect back from a good contractor versus a bad contractor, right? Hey, these are the items that you have to have in your contract to make sure that you don't get robbed. Hey, if you have to give a deposit, this is the way you give it so that you could always reclaim your deposit without having to go to court. We were dropping some we and it was only supposed to be 3 hours. We were there for a little over 4 hours, people. So,
Oh,
and by
y'all
the way,
stay.
guys, if
Wow.
you guys want a copy of that replay, you should
Yeah, we
drop
got
us
to.
a DM
I
because
put the
we'll
link in the
yeah.
video. I put the email, y'all. If you want to read a copy, just send if there's just sign up for the waiting list for the Ultimate Landlord's Guide. I'm going
Yeah.
to send out an email, Dan, to my list about the recordings too. So we need to get all that link. I'll prepare. We can prepare that tomorrow for them.
Yeah, and for everyone here, please call in with your questions. The number's on the screen. But the crazy part is, Chris, I'm not going to kid you. Yesterday, I couldn't download it, um, and I was a little worried. And I call up Zoom, and they weren't very helpful. Their tech support, and I said, let me call my computer guy, a person that charges you per hour, and he took control of my computer. But it took him about an hour, and he was able to figure it out.
We got it.
Yeah, so
That's good.
I was like, thank you, Lord. It was
I'm
a
happy
perfect
about
day to
that.
thank God. It was Sunday. I was like, because we promised so many people this video.
Dan, Miami Property says, how can it be cheap when the average cost of homes in his area is 500,000, not 55,000 like in the 19? Damn, he said the 1900s.
Okay, well, first of all, it was 1989, not 1900s, and let's put things into perspective. So in 1989, the average cop in the city of New York take home pay after taxes was about $325 every 2 weeks. Right. Today,
Wow.
the average cop in the city of New York is making without much overtime after 5 years about $155,000 a year. Right. So if you want, you got to let's put things
It's
into perspective.
all perspective.
Right.
It's
So
all perspective.
a car back in 1989, a brand new Cutlass Supreme. I love that car. Would have cost me about loaded out, loaded out would cost me about $13,000 to $14,000. What does that car cost you today? A loaded out, Oldsmobile. It's going to cost you upwards of $65,000 to $70,000 minimal.
What is a Cutlass Supreme? I don't even know what it is.
Man, Cutlass Supreme was the car with the
This
bucket
joint right
seats.
here?
No, well,
What year?
let's talk about 1989. Yeah, that's a Cutlass Supreme. That was a
Here we go.
badass car.
Oh,
With a,
this one of the mobster cars, dog.
I love that car. Yeah. I never got that car actually because I never had the money for it. Actually, those are the bench seats. You had to get the bucket seats. The bucket seats were badass and leather. Yeah,
Damn, you sick, dog.
yeah.
Cutlass Supreme bucket. Let me see what it looks like. I'm sorry, y'all. It's Sunday. We have a good time.
There you go.
Is that a bucket seat right there? Right,
That's
those?
it. That's a Cutlass right there. Yeah. So again, everything's in perspective, right? You made less, but property was less. Today you're gonna make more. So decide what do you want. Either way. I hate when people tell me that. The reality is that
It was
when
a
I
lot of money then. Felt
Yeah,
like
when
a
I
lot of money.
graduated from college, the best job I could find in the field that I graduated with, which was in marketing and finance, right? The best job I got, the best job offer I got was $16,000 a year.
Mm,
You
mm,
know,
mm.
my son
Wow.
graduated. I remember when my youngest son graduated, his offers were like 110, 120. It's a major difference.
Yeah. That's amazing, Dan.
Everything's relative.
That dude, DJ, that dude, Jay, 36. Dan, has higher interest rates affected either of our businesses, positive or negative? Go, Dan.
Chris, you and I have spoken about this too. Please confirm. Do you agree with me? When interest rates were low, I was doing a lot less deals. I couldn't. It was so much harder to find deals.
Let's talk about this because I want to make sure everybody understands the on the acquisition is different from the disposition. So we're talking about acquisition right now.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So it's a lot harder to find deals as a real estate investor when interest rates are high because everybody and
Low
their
or
mother
high?
when interest rates are low, it's a lot harder to find deals because everybody and their mother is watching these gurus or thinking they're going to be investors and they're getting a great deal.
BRRR.
People, the reality is this: when interest rates drop, prices of homes go up. When prices of homes drop, it's most likely because interest rates are high. So there's a relationship, right? Now, I love to buy when interest rates are high because when they drop, my property value goes up and then I refinance and pull my original investment out.
Mm.
Right. So for me, I wish and hope interest rates go 10, 12, 13% because I'm going to make a load of money, guys. So is Chris Haskins. So is every other quote unquote real estate investor.
Who asked that question? That dude, Jay. Here's the thing you have to understand. Dan and I consider ourselves like firemen, right?
Yes.
So, and I don't know about Dan, but I have to beat it in my head. I gotta every day, like when everybody's going this way, I need to
Going
go
that
that
way.
way. So when 2008, 9, and 10 happened, was I scared? Yes. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was only in the business for 4 or 5 years. I'm like, Warren Buffett, I never forget. He was like, I always run to the fire. Always run. And I
Fireman.
have to psych myself up.
Gotta
I'm
be
not gonna say
fireman.
this is easy. It's not easy for me. It might be easy for Dan, but I gotta be like, look, Chris, I know this is the right thing to do. I gotta make myself go because I know everybody else is running that way because interest rates. I'm like, shit, I know the best deals, but I have to really that dude DJ. I gotta make myself do it, and it's hard for me.
Yeah, listen, firemen, what do? They run into the fire when people and the rats are running out of the house. We're running in. Chris
This is the
Haskins
truth.
and Dan Borrero, we're running to the fire. We can't wait to feel that heat on our face.
I don't know about that, man. I'm still trying to figure it
Okay,
out.
I'm speaking for myself. I remember 2008, everybody was worried, and I sat on my hands for about a year and a half. And right before 2010, my brother and I got back into the business hard, and we added two more zeros to our net worth. Right. So when everybody was scared, we were like, "Oh my god!" It was like cherry picking
Yeah,
for free. That's the way we felt. It was that cheap. It was that
stuff
cheap.
was just on. It was you were buying stuff on the market, right?
I stopped buying stuff on the auction block on the auction stairs because I
You have to.
realized that after buying it and then cleaning title, or sometimes not being able to get into the property because it was on the auction steps, because those were the conditions of the auction. I'm I was paying almost as much if I just bought it directly off the MLS,
Yeah,
off the banks, because the banks would give it to what they call an REO agent,
real estate owned.
and they would put it on the MLS. I made sure I created relationships with really active REO agents.
Mhm.
They would call me before they put it on the MLS saying it's going to go up in 2 days. You want to go look at it? And it went on the MLS, let's say at 11:59. And at 12:01, I sent over the contract, right? And
Relationships.
and at you know the next morning it was presented to the bank, mine first.
This is a relationship business. What's up, buddy?
Yeah. So this is totally a relationship business.
You can say hi here. Come on. Everybody say hi to TT real quick.
TT, what's up? Yo, awesome hat.
Get out of here. Get out of here. Guys, call in with your questions. 757-204. Hit that door. 204-1332. 757-204-1332.
How many people we have on here now, Chris?
We got 40 on Instagram. I mean, YouTube, 10 on IG. IG says, I understand you guys are both in real estate. This is Astivio. Real estate. Are you diversifying in other asset classes or all in real estate? I love investing in the S&P 500, for example, diversify. Sorry. Dan, I know you're doing some stuff, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably about 75% in real estate. The other 25% is diversified, or a little less than 25% actually. But S&P 500, I love it. I think it's great, especially if you don't want to you don't want to take the time out to learn the market. I hate it. I don't want to learn it. The S&P, I've been putting money into that on a monthly basis for about 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah, every 15th of the month, there's a certain amount that goes in. And as my wealth continues to grow, so does the amount that I deposit on the 15th of the month.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
I need to start doing that, man. Thank you for reminding me of that one. Oh, wow. Finding Freedom has an interest rate of 2.1. Good Lord have mercy.
Yeah, so why would you, it's kind of funny too, right?
Good
Chris,
God.
we're the guys who always say, listen, you should pay down your mortgage before it's due, pay at least one extra. So if you have a 30-year mortgage and you make one extra payment a year, that will cut your mortgage down by 7 years.
7 years.
But if you're paying 2.1, 3%, 4%, don't make no extra payments.
Yeah.
Don't make no, I mean, I wouldn't. I'd make the minimal payment that I could make.
Yeah, use that money somewhere else. That's free. In my mind, y'all, that's an
free
investor,
money.
that's free money, y'all.
That's free money.
So you borrow $100,000, you're paying back $2,000 a year on interest. I spend more than that at the bar. Yeah. I'm like, wow. Get your questions in, y'all. We're gonna be for a few more minutes. Shoot, make sure I got this thing. Is the thing on?
You know what? I didn't turn on my Instagram. Hold on a second, man.
You can give me a link if you want.
Oh, turn this on. Give me a second.
So I wanted to talk to y'all tonight. Make sure I'm going to take you back to the basics. I did a class with my kids the other day, Dan. And you know what I want to show y'all too? This social media, Dan. I'm going to show you something. I got these glasses, right? Please, round up, family. You got to get into this social media if you're not yet. You have to get, I mean, you're going to have to figure it out, dude, because if you're not on social media, you're just leaving so much on the table regarding people being able to find you and loan you some money, right? I think people are nervous about making a video or commenting or talking, and I love it because Dan Borrero, huh? I love it because when I met Dan Borrero in 2019, he was the same way. He didn't want to get on social media. And can y'all imagine if Dan would not have gotten on? What would our lives, including me? I mean, how many times have I been in New York, a dinner with Dan, been out with his family? Still no good, Dan. Your thing is muted there. Hit the unmute. Oh, it says your mic's not connected.
How about now?
Yep.
You can hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Good.
What'd you do?
I was playing with something, but we're good.
Okay.
As long as you can hear me, we're good.
I just want everybody to know, just imagine what would our lives be like, including me, without having Dan Borrero on social media. It's not like he woke up one day and was like, I'm going to do social media. He looked at it, met some people, but he was in the right environment around guys like me. And I'm not saying I'm not a badass and it's not a flex. He was around other people that were doing it. Mm-hmm. And he was like, you know what? I see the value in this. And I'm just so thankful that he does it. And Dan, could you just help people that are not doing it now?
The reality is I started getting into social media because of my kids. I'm not going to lie to you, because my kids would come home with questions because my older two daughters, their friends were starting to buy properties, get married. And they were like, Dad, this doesn't sound right. So-and-so said that Kristen, for instance, was having difficulty with a mortgage. And I was like, nah, tell her, give me a call. And I was like, no, negotiate this. And she got like $3,000 off her closing costs.
Sweet.
Right? And then another friend of hers named Tommy, I also knew the kids since they were great in junior high school together and then high school, and he was buying a condo, and I was like, no, I don't care what your realtor says. She's looking out for herself at what the advice she's giving you. So
That's
you
what
need
they do.
this, and this, and he was able to negotiate another $60,000 off the price.
Holy cow.
Right. So, you know, I then my kids were the ones who set up my social media account. And by the way, they sat there for about a year and a half before I actually started using it. Um, and I was starting to use it, and then that's when I met Kris Haskins. And Kris Haskins said, "Let's do a live," and I was like, "Yeah, what's that?" Remember, Chris?
Yeah, man. In Dallas, Texas.
Yeah, that was the first time I ever did a live, was Kris Haskins at the conference at that night. And then COVID hit, and of course, about 10 months into COVID, I caught up to everything I had ever wanted to do. And I said, you know what, let me do a little deep dive into social media and see how this works out.
Well, then I'm trying to find it. I want to show y'all a class, show you what we did. Okay, here
Guys,
we go.
just for the audience, if you dial that number 757-204-1332, you will have access and give us we will answer your questions.
We got our caller coming in now. Da-da-da. This thing's got an issue. Caller, you're on the line with Chris and Dan. Please state your name and where you're calling from.
This is Jared Caston calling from Virginia Beach.
Spell your name for me, brother.
Jared, Jarrett.
Jared,
R
what up, homie?
E T.
How you doing?
Not much. I'm just okay. Fine Sunday. How about yourself?
Good. How can we help you, Jared?
What you got, brother?
I want to start by thanking you for the course yesterday, man. That was a big thing for me. It was a big block for me that I was able to pass. A big roadblock.
Jared, I hope we try to over deliver, and I hope we accomplished that yesterday for you.
Oh, 100%. A big problem for me is I have a real issue with paying money for anything. I hate paying money for things. I want to make guarantee returns with spend money. So this would be kind of starting to get rid of that trend and paying for something. I definitely feel like I got my yours.
Jared, what I learned as I got older and I started coming up through the ranks, spending money is a skill. Spending money is a skill set that you got to learn. Like, I'm a Walmart guy. I don't buy nothing there. I'm done with that, right? But I'll spend 100, 200,000 on a house just like that, no problem.
Sometimes without even walking it, right?
I don't even look.
Yeah, just with pictures, like done.
Yeah.
But that's a skill set that we've learned over the years, right? What to spend, where to cut back. So when you're doing real estate, you look at dollar in, dollar out. So
Jared, I want to say something. So I bought myself a truck about 2 years ago. A truck I've wanted since high school, and and it's a nice badass truck. It's an expensive truck, and I remember my wife like, why it's so excruciating for you to go buy this truck? Why don't you just treat yourself? She goes, I don't understand. You buy these properties, you don't even walk them, you just buy them, and you have no problems wiring this kind of money. And I was like, yeah, but that makes me money. The truck is not going to make me money. It's a want. It's not a need.
All right.
I love it. All right, Derek.
All right, so here's the question.
Jared, you have any questions for us?
Yeah. So the main question is, so I've been trying real estate for about 6 months. I feel like I have a good hold on the analysis of it, understanding the numbers and deals work and that thing. This part for me by far is just fund deal. That's the hardest thing. So one thing I want to try, I'm looking to do soon, is working with like a virtual assistant. One numbers on that, it looks like it will cost me about $2,000 a month. We pull in leads, have the virtual assistant do cold calling, give me the lead in there, and then trying to close the deal from there. That sounds like a reasonable approach to properties.
Locate property leads and stuff.
Oh, yes, yes. To close on this, yeah.
That is a Kris Haskins question.
Tell me about your time. Do you work a lot or do you have time available?
Oh, yeah, I work some jobs. Yeah,
What's
9
up?
to 5.
You know, 9 to 5. We don't cold
Yes, 9
call.
to
I
5.
have done deals regarding doing cold call, but my main thing is I'm at the position in my life where I want leads coming to me. Like I don't want so I don't know about cold calling. I can't. I'm not qualified to talk on that. But if I had $2,000 a month to spend, I would go straight to the internet. For me, I would. But I don't know because the internet it gets searched. People gonna be searching all the time. We get our best leads from online. Cold calling, you're gonna have to really. It's just life energy. I never forget. I heard somebody say, "You know what? I'd rather my team deal with inbound leads because it's less wear and tear on them mentally as opposed to outbound." Because just face it, who the hell wants? No, first of all, nobody wants to make the calls, and then you got to be constantly following up with them. So if I were to use 2,000, I would do online ads, but I
And
can't speak
the
on that.
thing is, Jared, if they're inbound, right? Because if they're calling as a result of the ad, that's a much warmer lead than it is when you're
Hmm.
cold calling.
Yep.
Mm. Right. Okay.
All right.
All right. I hope that helps you at all, brother.
Thank you, Jared.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
All right,
Yeah.
Jared. Take care.
we have a question on my IG page. It says, any website you look at for foreclosed homes in New York? One of the websites we use is Hubzu. But I wanna stress, guys, just because it's an auction doesn't mean it's a good deal. No.
I don't mean nothing.
Yeah, that means nothing, especially on an auction, right? You better look at the fine print.
Oh
Auctions, you have to pay the real estate fee,
shit.
and if they insist that you use their title company, your title cost is going to cost you about another 15 to 20% more in cost. So you need to put all those numbers into the calculation. So let's say the most you were willing to pay was 100,000, but now you're going to have an additional 6,000 in closing costs that you normally wouldn't have had. You can't go more than 94,000. So be careful. Auctions are not always the best all the end all to be.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
They're definitely not. You never know.
Nope.
Caller, you're on the line with Chris and Dan. Please state your name and where you're calling from.
Hey, what's up, Chris? And what's up, Dan? Dio, and from the
Dio from New York. Dio?
Dio.
D. What do you say? Neo?
Dio.
D.
Dio. Or just
D.
call it D for short.
D from New York. All right, cool. D, hold on one second. Oh, go ahead. All right. D, what you got, bro?
No, just was up the content, man. Good, great stuff. The info. I just had a question. Just trying to with sub two and because I know probably Chris is probably going to help me more with this, but a couple things. For comes to taking sub two to a property, who's the entity if you're taking for the title, between the original owner? Um, there's kind of a great deal on getting the home insured. Is it your company that insures it, or how does that work specifically?
Well, we have two trains of thought. That's a great question, by the way. Two trains of thought. Like, let me tell you, if there's a bunch of equity there, like so when I
Mhm.
bought my last owner occupied home, I was living in it subject to. So I had two policies. One was like a phantom policy that I kept in the seller's name,
Mhm.
and one that I had in my name with no mortgage on it. Right. So I had two policies, one just to satisfy the loan and then one for me. So if I ever had to file a claim, or what do they call it? Yeah, file a claim, then I would just file on mine and just keep paying the one with the seller's name with the mortgage. That's one way to look at it. And Ron LeGrand says I'm a wuss for doing that. I slept. The other way is you get the homeowners, you get a insurance policy, your company name, you add the homeowner as an additional insured, and you send it over to mortgage company. We do them both ways. I've done them both, and both. I've done both of them. So I've got several subject to homes now. It's so crazy, D. You do a lot of them. You don't even think about it. I mean, you just do it, add it on there. It's really not a people. They talk like it's like a big thing, but it really isn't, man. The insurance, the mortgage company doesn't care. As long as they have a policy, it's in the seller's name. They don't even care.
Okay, yeah, that was kind of my worries. They were saying that, hey, something, turns down, what happens then,
What you mean?
So if the house is down, who's in, I mean, I'm assuming insurance will cover it.
Well, you got a power of attorney
Right?
with the seller anyway. You got the power of attorney, so you go in and you deal with everything with it because they're going to write a check to you and the mortgage company and the seller. Right.
Well, if they're doing that with the mortgage company, then that trigger the doing so cost.
Doing what with the mortgage company?
You said that your power of attorney is going to be and the mortgage company, right? Or...
No, just imagine all the people that are in nursing homes, just all the people that are in wheelchairs that can't do this stuff, all the people that have property management companies that are doing this for them. They've got power of attorneys, bro. Happens every day. Just because they're not even going to check. The mortgage company's not even going to check to see who's on title. I had a fire in one of my houses last year, right? It wasn't a subject to, but I own the property in a trust, right? The insurance company never pulled title. They never even looked. They just said, hey, we're writing a check to whoever the hell's on the policy. Boom.
Done.
They don't even check because, we all in our minds, we think they're going to look at this. What about this? Oh, no. What about, dude? It just doesn't happen. Yeah. Relax. Relax. You sleep at night better, brother.
And just one more question before I let you go.
Yeah.
As far as the titles, well, not titles, the home under a land trust. I see you have a education there on land trust. Is that versatile? Do I just go? I'm assuming you teach me how to do it step by step because I had from an attorney. She was charging me $2,900 to get trust going. So I'm like,
hold on. You said you were in New York, right?
Yeah, I reside in New York, but I'm pretty much in New York and in New Jersey and different countries. But yeah, typically New York, yeah.
Now, you're investing with the land trust where? New York or New Jersey, or where you investing?
In New Jersey.
In
New Jersey.
You're in a blue state, and this is not a political statement; it's just a reality. To do subject twos in the Northeast, you got to be you got to be extremely creative. And you got to be really you got to be focused. It's not as easy to do like where Chris does it, right? Because New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, very litigation states. Attorneys are going to charge you more because they're actually on the hook more because it's a lot more difficult to do this kind of transactions here, especially when there's another attorney on the other side of the table. So yeah, and plus you're in New Jersey and New York, you're going to pay more.
Okay.
The same paperwork that I get done with an attorney in New York or New Jersey versus the same type of paperwork to fit the law in Florida is usually like half the price.
Dan likes to beat his chest with this New York craziness.
It's the truth, man. Everything's more expensive here.
So do I purchase your course on trying to, go and file it myself, or should you think it's best to let them do it and?
Man, it's up to you, brother. We don't sell stuff. We do stuff. And look, if you think it fits you, then come on the board. You go to my channel, just type in land trust on my channel and check out. It's free. You can see how it works. I even give you the flow chart. You can see how it works. If you see it fit for yourself, download it. And then if I were you, I would take it into them and say, hey, look, I got my trust. Help me get it set up. Because if all they're doing is going to their computer and printing out the same stuff. So
yeah, they just change addresses. They make some tweaks here and there, but that's a generic form they already have. They've already invested the time in making it.
All right, man. Well, thanks for answering, man. Good show, great show. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, D. Peace.
So again, audience, Feel
Go ahead.
free, call in with your questions. Kris Haskins will be putting it up there. So
I love
again,
the fact
for
that
those
we
of you
don't have
that
to say.
just came on, Kris and I, we did an incredible mastermind class yesterday, how to find on how not to get ripped off by your contractor. That went on for 4 hours, guys. I don't know about you, Kris, but I was a little mentally exhausted yesterday after that.
I had cheerleading. I forgot to tell y'all I had cheerleading to go to. I forgot to say that. But yeah, man. Dan, a lot of information. I
Yeah,
learned some new stuff too from people asking questions and dealing with all that stuff. You never know what people going through, Dan, you know?
that's right.
Let's see. Got another caller. Hopefully this thing stays on here. It's weird. You're on the line with Kris and Dan. State your name and where you calling from. Oh, damn. Dan, I got to show you this. They hung up. Look at this, Dan, while we're talking. What we doing? So look, I did this video yesterday. These are my glasses, right? I want people to understand this. This is where it's going when I talk about social media.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to these glasses, everything. And I just don't want our followers and our supporters to miss the opportunity. Look at this, Dan. Look, you see how clean this is?
Yep.
I'm teaching a class with my daughters where we're going over the cash flow quadrant.
Right.
But the point of me showing you this is social media on the phone is on its way out, y'all.
Oh yeah.
You see this? And when these glasses hit, caller, hold on 1 second. Dan, when these glasses hit, dog, you think you a dinosaur now? So I'm talking to my daughters. Look at this. This is them. I'm on the board talking to them, teaching the class. Dan, when this thing really hits with augmented reality and all this stuff, this phone shit here, this like scrolling, it's going away. So I want people to understand that you need to get on social media now.
Yeah.
Caller, state your name and where you calling from.
Hey, good evening, guys. This is Anthony from
Anthony from where?
Brooklyn.
Oh,
Is this Mr. Finkel?
This is Mr. Finkel. Hi, Mr. Borrero. How are you?
How are you, Mr. Finkel? You've met him actually.
I saw you guys are gonna.
Kris, he's come to our lunch and learns.
Okay.
Yeah, him and his wife both.
Oh, good to hear from you, Anthony.
Yes. How can we?
Yeah, I haven't seen you since that event in Jersey.
We could be back up there. Dan and I putting something together for March, so we'll see you soon.
Excellent. I saw you guys were talking about interest rates, so I figured I would share the experience that I had weekend with you. And I had already talked about this with Mr. Borrero, and so I figured I'd call in about interest rates.
Okay.
I had received. I had been talking with a lender, looking originally in Florida, and just based off what's going on with my work situation, I decided to it's in the Northeast because it's closer to my business. Mm-hmm. I spoke with Mr. B about strategy, and we were talking about knocking down some of those costs from closing. And I sent me I guess it's called a preliminary HUD, some of their expenses, and we tried to negotiate some of them down. And the company or the lender basically stonewalled me and said that these are standard fees and there was nothing they could do about it. And then after consulting with Mr. B, I decided to find another lender and shop around, and it looks like I'll be able to get a better rate. So I just wanted to thank Mr. B and talk about just the option of shopping around and lowering some of those closing costs.
So thank you for calling in, Anthony. I appreciate that. So just for the audience to get a background, Anthony comes to my free mentorship class that I host every single Wednesday night, and I've done many classes on how to negotiate your closing costs, right? Especially when it comes down to mortgage documents and all the ridiculous fees that mortgage companies are going to tack on. And Anthony sent me a copy of his preliminary HUD. Now, this is Anthony's first property, investment property. Anthony's buying, right? Anthony, do you mind me sharing that? I should have asked you first.
This is my second deal. I have one property in South Florida. This is my first multi-family.
Your first multifamily, and I want to congratulate you, man, because that's huge step. And so I always recommend when someone's going to buy a property, yeah, you know, go get your pre-approval, but don't let them run your credit report. And then they're going to tell you, well, I can't give you approval without running your credit report. And they want to run your credit report, I think, and there's no proof in this matter that I have, but I think it's because the more you run your credit report, the lower your score goes down, and they're going to bring that to your attention, right? So that's how they kind of lock you in. So what I do is I run my own credit report through my credit cards, and I bring it with me. I bring them proof of my income, and if you look on the bottom of any pre-approval letter, it's always going to say subject to confirmation of the information provided, right? So that's their way out of not giving you the loan if they choose not to give you the loan. So essentially, that piece of paper is worthless, but realtors want it anyway for whatever reason. So, you know, again, so, but the thing is this, I've never, ever, I've only maybe one or two times I've used the same mortgage broker that I've got the mortgage commitment from. Because when I find a property, the day that, when I'm starting to negotiate that property, I'm already shopping for a better rate and shopping for better fees, right? So, and the one thing I do is I say, I want to see a preliminary HUD of all your fees, a truth and lending statement, it's called. That's the actual industry name, truth and lending statement. And in that truth and lending statement, and guys, what I'm about to drop right now is gold. They're going to have all their fees, their underwriter fee, the document review fee, the lender's the lender's fee for gathering the documents, and then there's another fee for also the lender to do, and then they're going to charge you for delivering documents. That's another 100, two. Sometimes I've seen it as high as 3. Then they're going to charge you a settlement charge. Then you're going to have to get the same thing from the title company. And then you're going to see another settlement charge in there, right? So it's not just the loan amount. It's just not the interest amount. So as I was telling Anthony, you got to tell that mortgage company to go screw themselves and try to extend this existing contract to give you time to go shopping elsewhere. Because even if they give you the same interest rate and you could save $3,000 or $4,000 in closing costs just on the mortgage side, it's worth the extension. And that's what Anthony did today. Am I wrong, Anthony?
Right. I actually took their offer, their loan offer, took it to another lender, and I said, "Can you beat this?" Questions. Can you beat this price? And can you make it to closing on the 17th? I got a yes and a yes, and he reviewed everything. I mean, the banks are closed today, so I don't know what his final numbers will be. But by tomorrow, I should have a sense of which direction we're going to go in.
Yeah. And Anthony, I would then take that person's counter, the second person, and go back to the first guy and say, you know what? Because of your stupidity, because you wouldn't negotiate in good faith, this is the offer I got. Oh, well, I'll match it. No, that ain't going to work for me anymore. I'll stay with you. You already started the paperwork. But you got to beat these numbers. Otherwise, I'm going there. And I bet you he'll beat it. I'll bet my right off.
So, fingers crossed.
Good luck, Anthony. I love hearing that, man.
Thank you, Anthony. I appreciate you coming on and sharing that
Thank
with
you.
us.
Okay.
No problem. Thank you, guys. Great show.
Thanks, brother. All right. Peace. Thanks for your support. Dan, I got to get out of here, man. It was good talking to everybody here tonight.
Let's just tell everybody the waiting list for yesterday's video and workbook, because we're going to be providing the workbook and the video for the class. So even if you missed the class, you'll still be able to get the actual class. It's 4 hours long. And you could watch it at your own convenience, and you'll get the workbook with that. There's a wait list. Please put your information on it. Chris, you want to give them is it on there?
Yep, right below. Boom.
And for those of you that want to join my free mentorship class, like Anthony Finkel, you just go to danielborrerojr.com.
Dan, let me ask you real quick. Mr. Brooklyn wants to know, does crime matter when you're buying a rental property?
It actually does. You know, it reflects the price of the property.
Mhm.
It reflects the price of the property.
Yeah. I want to talk to y'all next week. I got a guy that's been trying to get some money on the house, Dan, and he hadn't been able to get a lender. We'll go over these numbers next week. Y'all share this stuff with other people that need to understand the real way real estate works. I pray that you guys will receive this information. Me and Dan are not flexing. We're not selling you. We're not showcasing. We're not doing any type of stuff. But honestly, we want to be your friend, and we want to show you what really happens. Dan has lost his shirt on deals, almost went bankrupt. I've lost tens of thousands on one deal. I can't tell you how much. And we really earnestly, solemnly want to help you avoid all the mess up and mistakes and craziness. Then, even when I was going through that stuff, I told myself, God, if I just had someone just to have shown me this, I think that's what where
Crazy
my
part
heart
is,
is.
and we're doing it for free, right? So and there's
Yeah.
so much other content creators doing it. So you don't even have to pay a lot of money for this. Guys, one more thing I pretty much forgot, Chris, and I don't know how either one of us forgot.
Mm. Oh, you got to hit a follow.
Well, no, not only that, but listen, guys, we have the ultimate landlord guide coming out. It's going to be
That's
a
right.
5-week course. It's only for those people that are real serious about this business, who want to really excel and manage their properties and manage their tenants, because otherwise their tenants are going to be managing them. If you want to be put on that waiting list, guys, we're going to cap the people. Yeah, we're going to cap it at like 60 people. So it's going to be first come, first serve. So go to danielburrowjr.com, put yourself on the waiting list for the landlord guide, ultimate guide, so that you don't get a landlord tired out and you don't have your tenants manage you.
Trying to manage you. All right, guys, share the stuff, like, subscribe. See you on the next one. We'll see you every Sunday, 7:30. Thanks, Dan.
Take care.
Peace.